Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers allude that Pascal may kill Professor Henry Hank Dalton on Jen Sidwell's orders. Will Sidwell decide that the problematic professor must go? Sidwell was formerly fed up with Dalton's lack of progress when he disrated him to work under Britt Westbourne. Britt also ratted Dalton out for pitching a new economic deal that didn't involve Sidwell at all. Now Dalton is defying Sidwell formally again since he's refusing to back off on the break-in charges against Rocco Falconeri. The last thing they need is the bobbies. Digging into what's really going on in the lab, but Dalton is too rankled up to watch. Since Dalton felt tête-à-tête lowered by Laura Collins, he's determined to get back at her by making her grandson suffer. Dalton constantly finds ways to prove he's an unskillful wildcard who doesn't know how to follow instructions. After Dalton stormed out on Sidwell in GH's November 13th occasion, Sidwell's expression suggested a trouble. Dalton is an issue that needs to be handled sooner rather than laterally, so that may be what Sidwell was deciding in that moment. However, that may be a design for Pascal, if Sidwell decides to wipe Dalton off the chart. Although Pascal is Sidwell's new butler at Windmere, he's got experience carrying out fatal orders. That was apparent during Pascal's time supervising effects at the Five Poppies Resort. Sidwell may determine that Dalton needs to be taken care of and put Pascal to work on making it be. Of course, Sidwell wouldn't want to leave any trail behind that might tie him to Dalton's demise. It's possible Sidwell could try to frame Sonny Corinthos due to his link to Rocco and make another mess for the mob master. Still, it's also possible Sidwell will just want Dalton to vanish or that he'll try to make this feel like an accident. Whatever the case, Dalton's days may be numbered, so stick with us for updates on any fatal professor news that might be brewing. General Hospital spoilers say Sidwell has further disturbing tricks up his sleeve no matter what. General Hospital spoilers for the week of November 17th suggest some curveballs. Suckers can anticipate Pascal to have an hassle with Jocelyn Jacks. Dante Falconeri faces a moral dilemma. Plus, Carly Spencer will return home to face lots of shocking news. Keep reading and let's talk about what's coming upcoming week in the ABC Cleaner pieces. Carly Spencer's shock. Let's launch off with Carly, who'll come back from Steinmauer. When she returns home, anticipate the Golden to reply to a lot of stunners. One of those will be that Lucas Jones is moving in with Marco Rios. It's not Marco that everyone is upset about, but Jen Sidwell. Jocelyn spending further time around Lucas will make Carly suspicious as well. Willow Tate's release. Now that Willow Tate is out on bail, her first visit was to see Wiley Corinthos. The nanny set up her son each right, but he was ent with Grandma Nina Reeves. Willow was furious to find Wiley and Michael Corinthos dining with Jacinda Breckel. Willow and Carly could face each other coming. In addition to all of that, Carly will worry about her son's future as well as Jack Brennan. Jocelyn Jacks encountered General Hospital spoilers for the week of November 13th reveal that suckers will also see Jocelyn face Pascal. The Golden will be rattled to see the villain in Port Charles and working as Sidwell's butler. Back to Sidwell, he might continue to charm Ava Jerome. Week of November 17th, 2025 suckers might also see Portia Robinson to continue acting guarded around Isaiah Gannon. The surgeon is likely to suspect that Portia is keeping some kind of secret. Still, could he get the wrong idea and suppose it's felonious rather of about a gestation? Justine Turner's plan is snappily falling piecemeal. Still, she's headed towards crossing a line with Sonny Corinthos. There's also Dante Falconeri, who faces a moral dilemma. What's he going to do when he learns the full verity about the lab break heft? While it could be another strike against Giovanni Gio Palmieri, the youthful man also helped to save Ned Quartermain's life, so it could go either way. Port Charles stands on the precipice of a transformative and terrifying week. The air, thick with the lingering scent of political upheaval and familial discord, is about to be charged with a new, more lethal energy. The conflicts brewing beneath the city's surface are set to erupt, forcing its residents into a brutal baptism of fire. Some will hear encouraging words that may prove to be hollow, while others will face angry threats that promise to reshape their lives forever. At the heart of the impending storm are two powerful forces, the cold, calculated machinations of Jen Sidwell and the raw, emotional shockwaves of Carly Spencer's return to a home she no longer recognizes. The professor's peril, a loose end ready to be severed. The professional relationship between Jen Sidwell and Professor Henry Hank Dalton has deteriorated from a shaky alliance into a full-blown crisis. Dalton, once the key to a lucrative and clandestine enterprise, has become Sidwell's most significant liability. In the ruthless economy of power that Sidwell operates, liabilities are not managed, they are permanently erased. A cascade of failures and betrayals. Sidwell's patience with Dalton has been eroded by a series of escalating failures. The initial demotion, shifting Dalton from project lead to a subordinate role under Dr. Britt Westbourne, was a clear and public signal of lost confidence. This move was not merely an organizational reshuffle, it was a profound humiliation, designed to put Dalton in his place under the supervision of a woman of unwavering principle who would never tolerate the ethical compromises his work likely required. The betrayal deepened exponentially when Britt reported Dalton's audacious attempt to broker a new, highly profitable deal that deliberately excluded Sidwell. This was more than insubordination, it was a direct challenge to Sidwell's authority and a brazen attempt to cut out his benefactor. For a man like Sidwell, who commands through fear and control, such an act is unforgivable. It revealed Dalton as not just incompetent, but dangerously ambitious and disloyal. The final, and most reckless, act of defiance is Dalton's refusal to drop the felony charges against Rocco Falconeri. From a strategic standpoint, this is catastrophic for Sidwell. A prolonged, high-profile criminal trial centered on the lab is a guaranteed spotlight, one that threatens to illuminate every dark corner of Sidwell's operations. Every subpoena, every evidence log, and every cross-examination brings the risk of exposure closer. Sidwell's preference would undoubtedly be for the entire incident to vanish into obscurity. Yet Dalton, emotionally unhinged and burning with a desire for vengeance against Laura Collins, is blind to this logic. His personal vendetta has overridden his professional survival instincts, marking him as an unpredictable and volatile wildcard. In Sidwell's world, wildcards are removed from play. Pascal, the polite and lethal solution. The November 13th episode offered a chilling glimpse into Sidwell's thought process. As Dalton stormed out after a heated confrontation, the look on Sidwell's face was not one of simple anger, but of cold, dispassionate assessment. It was the expression of a CEO identifying a failing division that must be shuttered for the health of the entire corporation. The problem of Hank Dalton now requires a permanent solution. This is where Pascal's role evolves from butler to executioner. His position at Windmere is a facade, a cover for a man whose history at the Five Poppies Resort confirms a proficiency in carrying out lethal commands with chilling efficiency. He is the ideal instrument for a task that demands absolute discretion and finality. Sidwell's primary objective will be to create an insurmountable distance between himself and Dalton's demise. He will orchestrate a scenario that leaves no forensic or circumstantial trail leading back to his door. Several calculated options present themselves. Framing Sonny Corinthos, this is a strategically elegant solution. By engineering Dalton's death to look like the work of Sonny, Sidwell achieves multiple goals simultaneously. He eliminates a liability, creates a monumental legal and personal crisis for a powerful rival, and effectively diverts all investigative resources and public attention toward the Corinthos family and away from his own enterprises. It is a masterstroke of misdirection. The silent vanishing act. Alternatively, Sidwell may order Pascal to simply make Dalton disappear. A missing persons investigation, while serious, lacks the immediate, intense scrutiny of a homicide. Without a body, there is no crime scene, no murder weapon, and no definitive proof of a crime. Dalton would become a ghost, a mystery that eventually fades from the headlines, allowing Sidwell's operations to continue undisturbed. The tragic accident, the most straightforward approach, is often the most effective. A fatal mishap in the lab, a tragic car crash, or a deadly fall could be meticulously staged to present the authorities with a plausible, non-criminal explanation. This method requires precision but offers the cleanest break, closing the book on Dalton without ever opening a murder investigation. Regardless of the chosen method, the outcome seems inevitable. Professor Hank Dalton is living on borrowed time. His refusal to be a team player, his emotional volatility, and his direct threat to Sidwell's empire have signed his death warrant. His impending fate is a stark lesson in the consequences of defying the city's hidden powers. A homecoming of horrors, Carly Spencer's world upended just as one crisis deepens, another is set to explode on the domestic front. Carly Spencer's return from Steinmauer is not a peaceful respite but a plunge into a maelstrom of shocking revelations that will challenge her family's safety and stability. A House of Cards, Lucas, Marco, and the Shadow of Sidwell. Carly's homecoming will be jarred by the news that Lucas Jones is moving in with Marco Rios. On its own, this might be a cause for cautious happiness for her friend. However, the concern isn't Marco himself, but the ominous figure looming behind him, Jen Sidwell. Marco's connection to Sidwell is a red flag that Carly, with her finely tuned instincts for danger, will immediately recognize. The idea of Lucas, and by extension her daughter Jocelyn, being drawn deeper into Sidwell's orbit is a nightmare scenario. Carly's home, which should be a sanctuary, has become the front line of a new, insidious threat. This fear is compounded by the situation with her grandson, Wiley. The revelation that Willow Tate, fresh out on bail, discovered Wiley not with his grandmother, Nina Reeves, but dining with Michael and his new fake girlfriend, Jacinda Breckel, adds a layer of personal fury to the existing tension. Carly, a maternal lioness, will share Willow's outrage. The potential confrontation between Carly and Willow could be a powerful moment of aligned interest, two mothers united in their protective instincts, despite their complicated history. Furthermore, Carly's mind will be racing with worries about her son's future, both his romantic entanglements with the duplicitous Jacinda and the ever-present, looming threat of Jack Brennan. Her world, meticulously built and fiercely defended, feels like it is crumbling from within. Jocelyn's chilling encounter. The danger becomes terrifyingly tangible for Jocelyn Jacks when she crosses paths with Pascal. Her recognition of Sidwell's enforcer, now operating openly in Port Charles as a seemingly benign butler, will send a shockwave of fear through her. This encounter is a visceral confirmation that the enemy is not just a distant threat but is now embedded in their community, his polite smile masking a deadly purpose. It is a chilling reminder that the mission she is on has real and immediate consequences. A tapestry of turmoil, Port Charles on edge. Beyond these central dramas, the week of November 17th will see numerous other storylines reach a boiling point, weaving a complex tapestry of a city in distress. Dante Falconeri's moral crossroads. Dante will be torn apart by a profound moral dilemma upon learning the full truth of the lab break-in. On one hand, Joe's role in instigating the event is another serious mark against him, reinforcing Dante's fear that he is a bad influence on Rocco. On the other, he cannot erase the memory of Joe's heroism in saving Ned Quartermain's life. This internal conflict pits the angry, protective father against the fair-minded detective who believes in redemption. Will he banish Gio to protect Rocco, or will he find a path to forgiveness that acknowledges both the mistake and the mercy? Portia Robinson's guarded secret. Portia's increasingly guarded behavior around Isaiah Gannon is drawing suspicion. However, his assumption will likely be skewed toward criminality, not conception. He may suspect she is involved in something illicit, completely missing the truth that she is hiding a pregnancy from her estranged husband, Curtis. This misinterpretation could create a dangerous and embarrassing situation, forcing Portia's secret into the open under the worst possible circumstances. Justine Turner's unraveling scheme. ADA Justine Turner's carefully constructed plans are rapidly falling apart. Her professional integrity is compromised by her dealings with Sonny, and her personal boundaries are blurring. The spoilers suggest she is headed toward crossing a line with the mob boss, a move that could have catastrophic repercussions for her career and her soul. As her scheme crumbles, her desperation may lead her to make a fatal error in judgment. Sidwell's charming deception. Amidst the chaos, Sidwell continues his campaign of charm, likely focusing his attention on Ava Jerome. This is not a mere romantic pursuit, it is a strategic maneuver to secure a foothold in Port Charles high society and potentially gain influence over a valuable asset like Jerome Gallery. Ava, no stranger to danger herself, must discern whether his attentions are genuine or the prelude to her own downfall.